The police have revealed that 3 young females are alleged to have been involved in the fatal stabbing of a Hamilton man at the weekend. Norman Kingi was stabbed as he tried to stop a vehicle theft in Ranui Street on Friday night. His death has sparked renewed calls from local leaders for community policing to be strengthened in that particular area of Hamilton. Joe O'Brien reports.
2 females aged 15 and 13 will reappear in the Hamilton Youth Court on Wednesday after earlier being charged with aggravated wounding and unlawful interference with a motor vehicle. A 12-year-old girl has been referred to Youth Aid for matters relating to Mr Kingi's death. Locals in the Hamilton suburb of Norton, where he died, were reluctant to comment, but one community worker who didn't want to be identified says more needs to be done to prevent such tragedies.
Something needs to be done about our rangatahi that are roaming the streets, uneducated, have nothing better to do than go out stealing, going out and committing crime.
The community worker says while there are lots of positive initiatives for young people in the area, there are growing concerns about crime and safety following the loss of community police officers several years ago.
Aroha mai to that man and the lost, I can feel where his family's coming from, but also us here that live here within Norton, we don't have much security.
It's a concern echoed by Hamilton-based Labour List MP Sue Moroney, who says she was asked to come along to Mr Kingi's rugby club rooms in Frankton yesterday. She says there was a huge gathering of friends and supporters who are shocked by what's happening in their community.
People told me that having cars being broken into is escalating. They're concerned about the youth crime and how out of control that's getting, and they're just devastated about what's happened. They've told me that Norm was one of the best people you could ever hope to come across, and effectively on that tragic night, him and his wife were doing the right thing. They were trying to protect their community.
Sue Moroney says community police have been stripped away from the city's streets, and she's outraged the Law and Order Select Committee refused to hear from petitioners calling for their reinstatement earlier this year.
We've had now shootings and murders on the streets of Melville. We've now had a stabbing and a murder on the streets of Norton. Those were 2 communities that 3 or 4 years ago had great community cops operating in their community, and they've been taken away. And now what we see is the escalation of petty crimes culminating in these sorts of tragedies.
Western Community Centre Manager Neil Tolan agrees a lack of community policing has taken a toll.
Yeah, they were right across the community and they lived and breathed it, so they knew the contacts, knew the networks, and they had the trust with the community, so the community would go to them if there was any underlying issues.
And so that's not happening now?
It's not, and I don't think the police can do that, just with the limited resources they have. They're definitely stretched at the community level.
Hamilton Councillor James Casson, who was the officer in charge of the North Hamilton Community Policing Centre, says local officers are telling him they're overworked and frustrated they're not able to undertake more grassroots policing.
The police aren't out in the community as much as they used to be and have lost a lot of face-to-face. A lot of that's not happening now. So the poor buggers on the street are going from job to job to job and haven't got a lot of time for proactive policing. It's just the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff.
But Hamilton West MP National's Tim McIndoe says while Mr Kingi's death is tragic, care should be taken not to rush to judgment on the basis of one incident. He says the government is committed to substantially increase police numbers.
In my own region, the Waikato region, we are getting an extra 100 police. The first tranche of those new police recruits are in training now, and so we'll have more on the streets of the region very, very soon.
The police deny there has been any loss of community policing in the city. In a statement, Area Commander Bruce Bird says there is now a focus on particular groups of people and locations with strong community patrols and school community officers. For Checkpoint i Kirikiriroa, ko Joe O'Brien tēnei.